UFC Fight Night, Burns versus Morales, full card prediction. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pretty meh UFC Fight Night. It's not really that stacked. It's got some good, solid, underrated fights for sure. Julian, Erosa, Melquizael, Costa is an absolutely amazing fight that I already know is going to fly under the radar because, well, Melquizael is kind of really new to the UFC. Had some losses to start out, was 1-2, but he's been on a tear. Julian Erosa's on 3 finishes in a row. We got Nursulton on the card, former top 10 featherweight Sodiq Yusuff, Paul Craig, who's beaten guys like Magomed Ankalaev and Jamal Hill, undefeated Michael Morales, Gilbert Burns. If you think about it in the terms of a hardcore MMA fan, this is a great card. It's a great main card right here. Not to mention ranked Luana and Tisha Pennington on the prelims. Jared Gordon, Thiago, Moises. So if you are a hardcore, this is a great card. We got undefeated fighters. We got future top 15s, more undefeated. Some ranked fighters, some good prospects as well. It's a great card, but for the casuals, I don't think they're going to really focus on this card too much because the biggest name is Gilbert Burns, and that's not really that big of a name, to be fair, but it's going to be a good card. I really do think it's going to be, and we're going to give our full card prediction. We're going to start with the top, make our way to the bottom. I've been doing it starting with the bottom, making our way to the top. I'm going to do it the other way around. Why not? Gilbert Burns and Michael Morales in the... What are these odds? What are we doing? Minus 650 for the Ecuadorian 26-year-old, basically. Michael Morales, taller, a lot lengthier, good wrestling background. I believe he was like in the national... He's like a national champion Ecuadorian wrestler. Something like that. He's got good wrestling. Gilbert Burns has better wrestling and better grappling. But that does give you some sense of, oh, Michael can probably defend these takedowns. He's landing takedowns in a lot of his fights. But a lot of them he doesn't need to because he can outstrike them on the feet with that height and with that significant reach advantage he always has in a lot of his matchups. His age discrepancy is absolutely ludicrous. 25, basically 26 years old to almost a 39-year-old. This dude is almost 40 years old, coming off 3 losses. Everybody and their mama on Twitter, everybody and their mama on Instagram is saying, oh, Gilbert Burns is... he's washed. He sucks now. He's gonna lose this fight because he's getting dominated by all these guys. And who is he fighting? Who is Gilbert Burns fighting recently? Sean Brady is his last loss. Main event, 5 rounds. He looked horrible in that fight. Let's just be straight up with you guys. But Sean Brady is on an absolute freaking tear and just, I'm gonna say it, bodied Leon Edwards in the last fight. I was going to say the M word, but I don't think YouTube would really like that. He destroyed Leon Edwards following his win over Gilbert Burns. He's got the Hamza Chimaev loss. He's got that Sean Brady loss. He's losing to legit guys in the UFC. Bilal Muhammad is one of them. Jack Della Maddalena is one of them. This is a champ. It's another champ. And then there's the number 1 ranked UFC. Anybody out there, comment down below and say Gilbert Burns is washed. I guarantee you, I'm going to fight you in the comments. This dude is not washed. He beat Neil Magny dominantly, beat Jorge Masvidal dominantly, had a really close fight with Hamza Chimaev, dominated Steven Wonderboy Thompson, lost to Bilal because he got injured, was beating, this is about a year ago, was beating Jack Della Maddalena, and then he got caught. He was up 2-0 on the judges' scorecards, and then he lost to Sean Brady. Champ, number 1. Where is this sense that he's washed? I don't understand. I do think he loses, but I think this is actually like a slight lean towards Michael Morales, just because, Gilbert didn't have any wrestling threat from Michael. Michael has good wrestling, but he's not going to offensively shoot takedowns on Gilbert Burns. Gilbert's going to come forward and dog it out, I feel. I think he's going to go back to his roots where he was in that Hamza Chimaev fight, and he was just dogging it out because he's got great cardio. He's got good 5-round cardio. He's good at pushing the pace, coming forward, and if he doesn't get the takedown, he's good at just keep on coming. And with Michael Morales, yes, he's got okay power. He's not a knockout artist. 12 knockouts, he might look like a knockout artist. In the UFC, he knocked out one of the chinniest dudes ever in Trevin Giles. Has the TKO win over Neil Magny, but that wasn't one where he knocked him out or anything. And then he caught this guy right here who's been knocked out before as well. I don't believe he's got that crazy knockout power. 12 knockouts sounds great. A lot of them were ground and pound TKOs. I don't believe he knocks out Gilbert Burns. And I think Gilbert's going to eat a few from Michael Morales in round 1, lose round 1, and be like, I could come forward on this guy. I can come forward on Michael Morales. He hits decently hard. He's got that good reach, but I got to get through that reach so I could close the distance and land my punches and mix in my takedowns. I really believe Gilbert Burns is going to make this a gritty back and forth decision with Michael Morales. I think round 1 goes Michael Morales. Round 2, Gilbert lands a takedown. Round 3, they start to get a little bit more sweaty. Michael Morales wins that round. And Michael Morales wins round 4. He'll be up 3-1. Gilbert Burns wins round 5, just being a dog and looking for that finish. And I think it's going to be a 3-2 decision for Michael Morales. I'm not saying at all this is going to be easy. Everybody predicting this fight, I know, is out there saying it's going to be an easy win for Michael. He's a minus 650 favorite. He's younger. He's taller. He's faster. He's more youthful. I don't care. Gilbert has the cardio. He's been in 5-round fights. He's got that come forward attitude. He's got the grappling advantage. He has good power of his own. Not a lot of people talk about. He's got decent power in his hands. Dropped Hamzat Chimaev. I think Gilbert Burns poses a very dangerous threat here. A very, very dangerous threat. But I'm going to go Michael Morales. I'm going to go 48-47 in the main event. Michael Morales versus Leon Edwards after this fight. If Gilbert Burns wins, you can do him versus Leon as well as a good comeback fight for Leon. But I think Gilbert actually wins that fight. Let's be honest. I think Michael and Gilbert both beat Leon. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on. Paul Craig and Rodolfo Bellato in the UFC light heavyweight division. Again, another fight where what are the odds? Mind you, of course I think Rodolfo Bellato wins. Do not get me wrong. Of course I think Rodolfo goes out there and either TKOs Paul Craig in round 1, round 2, or wins a 30-27 unanimous decision. I don't see Paul Craig winning any rounds here. Any rounds. The only way Paul Craig is winning this fight is if he gets a finish. He's not going to win rounds. He's not going to win a decision. That's not the type of guy Paul Craig is. Have you ever seen, I know the Mauricio Hufion, or not Mauricio, Mauricio Hua decision that he got was a draw. That's it. Volkan Oezdemir lost going to a decision. He lost to Bo Nickel going to a decision. He's not a guy that wins decisions. He wins by finishing you. I don't think he has a decision win. He has none. He's not going to win that way. He has to go out there looking for the sub. He's not going to TKO Rodolfo Bellato. The dude's chin is made of freaking stone. I don't know what to tell you guys. He's got to finish Rodolfo. Now, minus 500 is still crazy. I'm going to justify it. Paul Craig, 3 losses in a row. Yeah, cool. He beat Andre Muniz dominantly before that. It's been, what, 3 years? I know that sounds like a lot of time. 3 to 4 years. But it's not like Paul Craig has gotten worse. He's the same fighter. He's doing the same stuff. And 3 to 4 years ago, this man beat Jamal Hill, snapped his arm, and beat Nikita Krylov. And you're telling me 1 out of 5 times he's able to do that to Rodolfo Bellato? Only 1 out of... I think this is more of a Rodolfo Bellato 2-1. A Rodolfo Bellato 1.5-1. He's not a 5-1 favorite. That's ludicrous. He just had a draw with Jimmy Crute. He beat Ihor Potieria. That's it. Ihor is not, he's like 1-17 in the UFC, and then Jimmy was coming off a crazy long layoff, and he couldn't even beat him. No disrespect to Rodolfo, I love him. I love watching this dude's fights, and I think he wins today. Not today, this weekend. But my God, are these odds just ludicrous. Rodolfo Bellato, I'm going to go round 2. I think round 1, a little bit of feeling out. Paul's going to stay at range, throwing that body kick. And I think round 2, after Rodolfo kind of rocks them at the end of round 1, he's going to feel like, okay, I could come forward. Paul's going to try to get the takedown, pull guard, do whatever. He's going to do that a few times. And then in the middle of round 2, Rodolfo Bellato. And I think he goes to the ground with him. We're going to be like, no! Why are you going to the ground with Paul? And he's going to ground and pound him, and he's going to TKO Paul Craig. Ladies and gentlemen, Rodolfo Bellato, round 2, TKO. Sodiq Yusuff and Mairon Santos at 155? What are we doing here? A little bit of an interesting situation. Sodiq Yusuff has been bulking up. He's been getting bigger since his loss to Diego Lopez about a year ago. He's been getting bigger to fill out that lightweight frame, and is now a UFC lightweight. Mairon Santos is a UFC featherweight. Sodiq Yusuff needed an opponent for May 17th, they called Mairon Santos and they said, can you make featherweight? He said no. So they're like, okay, we'll put you with Sodiq Yusuff. Can you make lightweight? He's like, yeah, I could probably make lightweight. And they set up this fight. So the first thing we have to take into consideration with this matchup, Sodiq's going to be bigger, okay? Mairon Santos was a bantamweight just a few years ago. He fought Dan Argueta 3 years ago in the bantamweight division. Rafael Barboza, I believe, in the bantamweight division. I could be wrong, but he was a bantamweight 2 to 3 years ago. I'm going to make sure, because I kind of have a weird feeling he was featherweight. It was featherweight, but he had a lot of canceled fights right here. One of them was at 150. Crazy. So had the Dan Argueta loss and was like, I'm going to featherweight. I got TKO'd, I got gassed out in that matchup. I'm going to move up. And then he was featherweight through the Ultimate Fighter, beat Con Ofley, beat Francis Marshall. And again, the only reason he's fighting lightweight is because it's short notice. Sodiq is a natural lightweight now. It's not like this is two featherweights that are just doing short notice and fighting at lightweight so they don't have to cut weight. Sodiq's going to be bigger. Sodiq's going to be a bigger guy. And Sodiq is the better striker. I'm gonna be up front with you guys. Mairon is a very, countery type of fighter. Kind of stays on the back foot, looking for counters as you come in. The Con Ofley fight is a great example of that. The Francis Marshall as well. Francis was able to have success because he was coming forward and not really getting hit by a crazy amount of the counters of Mairon, and was able to clinch it up, get it to the ground and grapple and wrestle and things like that. Mairon Santos, I don't believe he's going to have that much success here. I know he's the favorite, which I looked at these odds and I was kind of puzzled. But he's the favorite over Sodiq Yusuff, who's in his prime, who's going to be bigger, who's going to have the power advantage over Mairon Santos. He's going to have a little bit of a striking advantage over Mairon, and Myron's not going to be able to wrestle and out-grapple Sodiq Yusuff in this fight. Sodiq was able to outstrike Alex Caceres. Why wouldn't he be able to do that to Mairon Santos? He lost to Edson Barboza in a close striking match. And he lost to Diego Lopez because he got caught. Mairon doesn't have that power, and Mairon is nowhere near on the level of an Edson Barboza. So, again, I want to look at these stats really quickly. He outstruck Edson Barboza, did get caught once in the fight, so his chin is a little iffy. But again, Mairon isn't the powerful type of guy that some people think he is. And he's able to outstrike Alex Caceres. He was able to actually outstrike Arnold Allen when they fought. Double the amount of strikes in round 2, in round 3. There was an argument that maybe he won that fight if it wasn't for, again, him getting dropped. And that could be attributed to him fighting at the featherweight division and cutting as much weight as he was. So I do believe his troubles of getting dropped in the Arnold Allen fight, in the Edson Barboza fight, in the Diego Lopez fight, were because he was fighting at 145, draining and depleting his body. Now he's fighting Mairon Santos, and he's not draining. He's going to be bigger. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be rejuvenated, not having to cut to the 145-pound weight class. That chinny issue isn't there, and he can just focus on striking. He outstruck Arnold. He outstruck Edson. He outstruck Alex Caceres. Aside from being dropped, Myron's not going to drop him. Sodiq Yusuff's going to win this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, my first underdog of the UFC fight night, Burns versus Morales card, Sodiq Yusuff, unanimous decision. Nursulton Ruziboev and Dustin Stoltzfus in the middleweight division. The welterweight/middleweight Nursulton Ruziboev. It's crazy to me. I think he's like, 6'1", 6'2", 6'5", I'm crazy. A 6'5" welterweight fought, and it was on short notice. I want to get that completely clear to everybody. He fought Cedricus Dumas, knocked him out in a round, weighed in at 185 pounds. He bulked up, ate some food, probably got up to back up to like 200 pounds, whatever. And he got called to fight Joaquin Buckley just weeks later, literally like a month and a half later. Who's not going to take that shot? It's a top 15 welterweight Joaquin Buckley. Of course he said yes. And he cut all the way down to 170 and made it with ease. He didn't look bad on the scales. Was supposed to fight Renat, and then he fought Eric McConaughey, and he's making weight at 184. He is the biggest welterweight I've ever seen, and he looks big for middleweight. It's insane. He looks big in the middleweight division. Mind you, he was a welterweight not that long ago. Insane. He's going to be way taller, just a little bit lengthier than Dustin Stoltzfus in this fight. It's mind-boggling in my opinion. Dustin Stoltzfus is coming off a knockout win over Marc-Andre Barrios. Beat Punahele Soriano. That's a great aging win. And then he got the Dwight Grant win, only losing, again, a lot of people think this guy's a scrub, only losing to Gerald Meerschaert, and this is in like the last 3 years, Rodolfo Vieira, Abus Magomedov, and Bruno Ferreira. These are all like top 30 at least. Abus is top 15. Bruno's like top 25. These are legit dudes that he's fighting. But he's getting finished by a lot of them. He's getting cracked on his chin by Abus and Bruno Ferreira. He's getting submitted by Gerald and Rodolfo Vieira. Nursulton Ruziboev, well, you might think he's a striker because he's coming off a knockout win over Eric McConaughey. He got out-wrestled by Buckley. You might think he's a striker. He's actually a decent wrestler. You look at his his regional MMA career. Kimura, submission, Kimura, armbar. This dude has a very underrated grappling pedigree that, not a lot of people actually talk about. Joined the UFC and just showed he's not just a grappler. Knockout. And I think Dustin's main way of winning is going to be what he did with Gerald Meerschaert in those early rounds. He was able to actually take down Gerald Meerschaert and control him on the ground. He's got to kind of come in there with the Joaquin Buckley approach. And that's why I'm not super confident on Nursulton Ruziboev. We kind of look through everything here. And if we look through Nursultan's fight with Joaquin Buckley, I believe we can pull up some stats for that. He got out-wrestled by Joaquin, who's a striker. He got out-wrestled by Joaquin, who is a striker. 4 takedowns from Joaquin Buckley and a knockdown. But he was really using that wrestling threat. A lot of ground and pound, a lot of control time. Dustin's got great wrestling and grappling. And that's why minus 300 for Nursultan's making me very, very worried about this fight. I can't be confident on Nursulton when he just got out-grappled by a welterweight, Joaquin Buckley, and Dustin Stoltzfus is probably a better wrestler and grappler than Buckley. So, again, I'm going to go Nursulton Ruziboev. Am I confident? No. You'll probably see that in the confident picks video. That's not going to be on the top of my list. Ruziboev is going to be towards the middle to bottom of that list because, again, he's got that wrestling and grappling pedigree we saw outside of the UFC, but I don't know. We haven't seen him use it effectively in the UFC. He's been turning into like Justin Gaethje and just striking. And I do believe, again, my prediction is going to be Ruziboev knockout. I think he defends takedowns. Maybe he gets taken down once or twice, gets back up, and knocks out Dustin Stoltzfus in this fight. But I just can't be too confident. So bet wisely if you're going to bet on this one. I got Nursulton. Round 1, round 2, KO. TKO. Julian Erosa and Melquizael Costa in the featherweight division. 2-1 for Melquizael. They're both on 3-fight win streaks. Melquizael finished Shailan Nurdanbiek, finished Andre Fili, and then beat Christian Rodriguez by unanimous decision. 10 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago, this dude is extremely active. He is going to have 3 fights in 3 months. Andre Fili, Christian Rodriguez, and Julian Erosa. 4 fights in a year. I love the activity. I absolutely love it. Julian Erosa, same can kind of be said for him. He's going to basically fight 4 times in a year. Ricardo Ramos about a year ago. Christian Rodriguez about 9 months ago. And then Darren Elkins just a month ago. Just a month ago. And he's been wanting to fight. After the Christian Rodriguez fight, he wanted to fight a few months after that. UFC just didn't offer it. So these guys are some active guys in the UFC featherweight division. Let's first look at the physical attributes. Age. Julian is a lot older, but a lot more experienced, of course, in the UFC. Melquizael has a lot of experience, but it was outside of the UFC in the LFA and things like that. Height is going to go Julian Erosa. Length is going to go Julian Erosa. Grappling and jiu-jitsu is interesting. Probably 50-50. I don't think one guy is going to have a significant edge over the other. It's just who really implements it and has that discrete slight edge in this little thing that they're able to do and practice and find the nuances in each other's game on the ground. I really don't think either guy is going to dominate the other guy in the wrestling or grappling. I don't think either guy is going to submit the other in the wrestling or grappling. I think this is actually going to be more of a striking match. 2 very, very good guys on the ground. I think they're going to strike. Julian knocked out Darren Elkins in his last fight. That's not super impressive. It's not at this stage in Darren Elkins' career. A lot of people do that. So I do believe, like, that isn't showing like the ceiling of Julian Erosa's striking game, because it wasn't against like a very good striker. Melquizael Costa isn't an amazing striker either. He's got great kicks though, that are always improving fight after fight after fight. His boxing isn't too bad, but I do believe he is going to be good enough to defend Julian's takedowns. I think because he's got the threat of the guillotine, he's got the threat of those submissions. I know Julian has the exact same thing. He's got a great guillotine himself. Again, I don't think the grappling is going to play too big of a part here. And I do think it's going to come down to the striking, where I actually think the power goes Melquizael, and that's what's going to give him the slight edge. I'm not confident in this fight at all. I'm not going to bet this fight because it's so close, in my opinion. I think Melquizael and Julian are going to land similar volume. Julian's going to try to use his length and use his hands and try to outbox Melquizael. I think Melquizael is going to try to outkick Julian Erosa. Because I think Melquizael's going to be harder for him to get into that boxing range on Julian. Julian's got that good length, that good reach. But I'm going to go Melquizael just to land the harder shots throughout this fight. I'm going to go Melquizael Costa 29-28. Very, very close. This could be one of those that could go either way. Don't expect to finish. I know Julian's coming off, two submissions and a knockout in a row. Before that, getting knocked out twice to Alex Caceres and Fernando Padilla. No, I do not expect to finish. It's weird for me to say. Julian Erosa is a guy that's been knocked out so many times. 7 knockout losses, never been submitted, but 7 knockout losses, you would think I should be a little bit more, there's a possibility there should be a knockout here. I don't see it. I really don't. I really, really don't. I don't see how he gets knocked out by Melquizael. Because I think as soon as Melquizael hurts Julian, they're going to get into that grappling, that grappling thing. And I don't think Melquizael has that like one punch touch or anything like that. So 29-28, Melquizael Costa. Very good fight. Underrated fight on this card. Matheus Camilo and Gabe Green in the UFC lightweight division. I'm going to go with Matheus Camilo to win this fight. A little bit smaller in the height, 5'9" inches tall, a little bit of reach advantage. I believe for Gabe Green, I saw somewhere that Matheus Camilo had a 72-inch reach. Not too sure if that's true because it's not showing on Tapology. But the age, definitely going Matheus Camilo. But Gabe isn't old. He's basically in his prime of his MMA career. He's coming off a very long layoff, though. About 2 years since his last fight against Brian Battle. He got knocked out just coming forward. Before that, lost to Ian Gary, which is crazy. And before that, had 2 wins over Phil Rowe and Johan Linus. He just has not been very active in the UFC welterweight division and is now dropping to the UFC lightweight division. And I don't know what to say about that. I really don't. Again, this is a fight I have to go out here and predict and give you my honest thoughts on what I've seen from both of them in their MMA careers and make a prediction off of that. He hasn't fought in 2 years, and he's switching a weight class. This is a tough fight for anybody to go out there and feel confident about a prediction. So I will say, Gabe, cutting down to lightweight, that's a 15-pound jump. That is huge in terms of MMA weight cutting. So first glance, I don't know the ins and outs of Gabe's camp. I don't know how good he's feeling right now about the weight cut. But I just know I've cut so much weight in my time as a wrestler and as an MMA fighter myself. 15 pounds is no joke. That's basically, I don't know, that's like, I think an arm. That might be an arm. But I think Gabe Green is going to be a lot slower and more fatigued throughout this fight. I think Matheus Camilo is going to be having to work what he did last time versus a good wrestler in Dora Nabata. I don't know how to say that name. Able to land the leg kicks, jabs, and 1-2s and moves and have the other guy come to him. Gabe Green did the exact thing that Matheus is going to want in this fight. He went straight at his opponent. Matheus loves that. He's a great counter kicker and a great counter puncher as well. Grappling and wrestling isn't bad. His takedown defense is iffy, but again, I was against a good wrestler and grappler, undefeated guy. But he was able to attempt submissions off bottom and things like that. So I think Gabe Green is in for a tough one here. I think he's going to have to come forward and be able to land and stay away from the counters of Camilo, but I don't think he'll be able to do so. I think Camilo is going to counter him with the kicks, counter him with the punches, and if he does get taken down by Gabe, he's got great submissions off bottom, and he's got a good get-up game as well. So I think Matheus Camilo, I'm going to go 2-1 decision over Gabe Green. Gabe has lost 2 times by decision, 3 times by knockout. Ian Gary didn't finish him. Daniel Rodriguez didn't finish him. but he's moving down a lightweight, so it makes me a little bit more iffy. But it's been a while since we've seen a knockout from Matheus Camilo. He's got the knockout over Alberto Romo in 2023. I don't know. I'm going to go decision, but don't get me wrong. If there's a knockout, because I think it's a very, very good possibility, don't be surprised. Do not be surprised. Gabe is coming down a lightweight, so could be a knockout incoming. Jared Gordon and Thiago Moises, the vet versus vet matchup in the UFC lightweight division, and I am going the dog. It says -110, -110 right here, but I wanna really cement the fact that I'm going for an underdog by looking at the odds. I gotta make sure. Sodiq Yusuff I have as a dog already on this card. Let's see. Jared Gordon is the dog on like a few, and he's the favorite on a few. Damn, I really thought I was getting an underdog here. He's -102 right here. It's literally a 50-50. Never mind. I really thought I was getting another underdog. That stinks for me. But I am going to go Jared Gordon to win this fight. He's not as tall. Sorry, he is as tall. He's not as lengthy as Thiago Moises. He's not as good as jiu-jitsu as Thiago Moises, but he's got great takedown defense. As shown in the Paddy Pimblett fight, he will keep this fight on the feet. This will be a 3-round striking affair where, quite simply, Jared Gordon is better. Like, this is the most simple breakdown I can make for you. Thiago Moises, at points in the Trey Ogden fight, was getting outstruck by Trey Ogden. He was getting outstruck by Trey Ogden. Let me say that one more. He was getting outstruck by Trey Ogden. Jared Gordon is no slouch on the feet. He's got good leg kicks. He's got a good left hook, right hook, things like that. He loves to get in there and land some big shots and get out. Throws a lot of volume as well. Thiago just doesn't have the power of Jared and doesn't have the volume of Jared either. I really think Thiago is going to get 30-27 here. I don't know why I'm so confident. He's older. He's not as long as Thiago Moises, but I feel confident. I feel weirdly confident. He arguably won the fight against Nasrat Haqparast. He arguably won the fight against Paddy Pimblett. And he could have got the win with King Green with the clash of heads bull schnikers. But I'm going to go Jared Gordon. I think he defends the takedowns, if there are any. I don't think Thiago should feel confident about getting any takedowns on Jared Gordon. He's got great takedown defense. But if there are any, Jared Gordon is going to defend them. Jared Gordon! Unanimous decision. Yadier DelValle and Connor Matheus in the UFC featherweight division. Correct me if I'm getting that last name incorrect. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. 8-0. 4-1 favorite is a little iffy. I think it should be a little bit closer. Age advantage going Yadier. Height advantage going Yadier. And reach going Connor Matheus. Connor, I think, needs to wrestle and grapple a little bit. He got caught by Jose Delgado. He got caught by Dennis Bazookia, and he got outstruck by Francis Marshall in that fight. Was able to beat Jair Farias with the wrestling and grappling a little bit, and was able to submit Andrew Cruz before that. Yadier's got good submissions off bottom, and he is a decent wrestler and grappler in his own right, but I don't think that's going to be the game plan from him. He's coming off 2 decisions, a guillotine choke, an arm bars in there, a TKO there, and a TKO there, but a lot of decisions, so I do believe this fight does go to a decision. He throws great volume. I love the volume from Yadier DelValle. I don't think he has the power. I don't know. He could surprise me here. It's been 6 months since his last fight, 11 months before that. Maybe Antonio is just that tough of a guy. Maybe Pena Alamov is just that tough of a guy. I don't feel like Yadier has the power to go out there and just knock out Connor Matheus like some of these last few guys have. Dennis Bazookia and Jose Delgado. I think Yadier DelValle's strength is he's got great cardio, good cardio, he's able to push a pace, and he's able to throw a lot of volume. And even if the fight goes to the ground, getting back up, throwing submissions up and things like that. So I think this is going to be a war. I really, really do. I think this is a sleeper on the prelims. We look at the prelims, there's Thiago and Jared. That's got the name value there. We got the ranked women here. We got the undefeated flyweights. We got this women's MMA fight, which is solid. I think this is a sleeper. Nobody is talking about Yadier DelValle, Connor Matheus. I think is going to be a 3-round banger at 145 pounds. I'm going to lean Yadier. This is a very close fight. Connor's got good wrestling and a slight grappling and wrestling advantage over Yadier DelValle, in my opinion. But I think Yadier is going to defend a lot of the takedowns, and he's just going to overwhelm Connor with volume. And he's going to land submission attempts that aren't going to finish, but it helps in the judge's eyes when you are attacking submissions and things like that. I'm going to go Yadier DelValle 29-28 in a very, very fun fight. Luana Santos and Tainara Lisboa in the UFC bantamweight division. I'm going to go the dog. Never mind. My bad. Luana Santos, I'm going the favorite. If I really thought... I keep thinking these fighters are dogs when they're not. I want to pick underdogs. I swear. 25 years old, not as tall, or same amount of length as Tainara Lisboa. That's not going to really matter too much. Tainara Lisboa is coming off a good, solid win. Over Jessica Rose Clark in her UFC debut. Kind of dominated that fight, to be honest. And then she beat a strawweight. It's a little weird. Ravena Oliveira is a literal strawweight. She's supposed to fight Shauna Bannon. And she beat her by decision. It's a little weird in my opinion. Luana Santos moving up to the bantamweight division after losing at the women's flyweight division. She got a knockout win over Juliana Miller, submitted Maria Agapova, and beat Stephanie Egger in there as well by unanimous decision, and looked pretty good in the Stephanie Egger fight. And in the Maria Agapova fight, she looked great. Didn't look so great against Casey O'Neill. She was getting taken down and out-grappled and out-wrestled and things like that. But that was that flyweight. That's where she had to cut a lot of weight and really wasn't feeling that good down there. But her wrestling and grappling game has shown to be decent at bantamweight. When she's not cutting a crazy amount of weight, she's able to land the takedowns and get the control time and things like that. She's not able to do a lot with it. Let's just be straight up with you guys. But she's able to get the takedowns. Tainara Lisboa, I do believe, is going to get taken down a few times here. I do believe so. She's got a 70% takedown defense, but she was taken down twice. She was taken down twice by Ravena Oliveira, a women's strawweight, who was able to get 5 minutes of control time, have 66% accuracy on the takedowns. Again, they didn't really do much with the ground, with the grappling, with the wrestling or anything like that. A lot of the control time was in the clinch, but still to get taken down that many times and controlled like that from a women's strawweight, it's so iffy in my opinion. It is so iffy. I think Luana Santos is going to keep this very, very even on the feet and just strike with Luana Santos here. And I think she's actually going to land some takedowns. And I know Tainara Lisboa has great grappling in her own right. Able to submit Jessica Andrade. Able to submit Consejo Oliveira. I think Luana Santos isn't going to be afraid. She's going to have the cardio now that she's back up at bantamweight, and I think she's going to push for some takedowns. Pressure forward, land some good punches, and mix in some takedowns. Do I think this is going to be a dominant win? No, it's women's MMA, probably a 29-28 for Luana Santos. Denise Gomes and Elise Reed in the women's strawweight division. Again, odds, what are we doing? Minus 500 for Denise Gomes. Should be like minus 200, something around there. Height and reach about the same. Age, Denise is a lot younger, but she has more experience by, I think, one fight than Elise Reed. Elise has been in the UFC for a decent amount of time. She's win-loss in a lot of her last few fights. Beat Jinyu Fry, Jessica Penne, and Melissa Martinez. Two of them aren't in the UFC anymore. Then Melissa Martinez is 1-1 in the UFC. She did lose to Loma and Lupita Godinez, but those are solid losses. Lupita's ranked. Loma Lubumi, I believe, is ranked now as well. Same thing can be said for Denise Gomes, also losing to really legit girls. Angela Hill and, well, Loma Lukbunmi. She beat Ryanita Santos on the contender. Bruna Brazil, she knocked her out. Yasmin Charagui, she knocked her out. She beat Eduardo Moura, split decision. But she was undefeated at the time. And then Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Elise Reed is good grappling, good wrestling, but she was able to do that to Eduardo Moura, defend her takedowns and outstrike her. She should be able to do it here. Again, the odds shouldn't be how they are, but I do feel pretty good about Denise Gomes here. Unanimous decision for Denise Gomes. Hyun Park and Carlos Hernandez in the UFC flyweight division. Height and reach going Carlos Hernandez ever so slightly. Carlos Hernandez, I would say slightly better striking, not by a lot. There's a lot of nuances in both of their games. Neither is like amazing on the feet. And there is the hidden factor that, Hyun Park hasn't fought in a year and a half, so maybe his striking has improved a lot since then. But I'd say it's pretty even, a slight edge to Carlos Hernandez from what I've seen in the tape. But again, a year and a half is a lot of time for Hyun Park to improve and to get that striking better and better and better. I do believe he will have the grappling and wrestling advantage over Carlos in that year and a half as well, to keep it as even as possible on the feet. I think he will mix in the takedowns, the grappling, the wrestling, the ground and pound. And I think he wins this fight. He's undefeated. It's about to be 10-0. In the road to UFC, he went a knockout win over Jeremiah Siregar. a rear naked choke, and then a rear naked choke to win his season of Road to UFC. And then he beat Shannon Ross. So he's a finisher, but I don't really think a lot of the guys he finished were super, super good. This is the first, like, decent guy he's fought. Not a lot of the guys on the Road to UFC were that good. Carlos Hernandez didn't get finished by Ray Saruya, so it's not like Hyun's going to go out there and finish him, I feel. Tatsuro Taira was able to finish him. Alan Nascimento, but I do, again, Alan and Tatsuro Taira a lot better than Hyun Sung Park. And then Ray Saruya is also better than Hyun Sung Park, and he wasn't able to do it. So I do believe this fight goes all the way, goes to a decision. I am going to go Hyun Sung Park to win this fight, 29-28. Luana Pinheiro and Tisha Pennington in the UFC strawweight division. Again, odds are all over the place on this card. I don't know why so many favorites are this big of favorites, but the Tiny Tornado, she's tiny, she's 5'1" tall. Not as tall, not as lengthy, and she's older than Luana Pinheiro. She's coming off a good, solid win over Carla Esparza. Clearly beat her, defended the takedowns, kept that on the feet, and outstruck her. That's what she needs to do here. Luana's got decent wrestling, decent grappling. She also has some decent power in her hands. Sorry, I have something in my throat, kind of. It's weird. She had some decent power, as shown on the regional scene. 2 knockout wins here. A lot of submissions as well. I believe the game plan for this fight is going to be having to do with the wrestling and grappling. She got knocked out by Hebas. She got submitted by Angela Hill going in for the takedown. Then she got out-grappled by Julian. I think she needs to go out there and just defend the big shots of Tisha Pennington. Keep thinking of saying Tisha Torres. She needs to defend those big shots of Tisha Pennington and just mixing takedowns. She's taller, she's lengthier. She needs to have Tisha come to her, and as she comes in, get her back to the cage, kind of matador her, Ilia Taporia, to the cage, get into those the single legs, transition to the double leg, get it to the ground any way you can, Luana Pinheiro. You do not want to stay on the feet for 3 rounds with Tisha. She might not knock you out, but she's going to keep coming forward, and she's going to keep putting on the pressure and pace, and out-voluming you, out-powering you, and she's going to win the fight. She's got great striking, great Muay Thai, great punches, great kicks. Luana, striking isn't bad, but I really think she needs to take this fight to the floor. Tisha, I think she's going to defend it. She's able to defend Carla's. She should be able to defend Luana. So I think this fight stays on the feet. I'm going to go Tisha Pennington. Do I want to say finish? Let's go finish. Let's go first fight of the night. Let's get a finish going. Tisha Pennington, round 2, round 3, TKO. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the full card predictions for UFC Fight Night. Burns versus Morales. I am going to go Michael Morales, 48-47, very close. Rodolfo Bellato, round 2, TKO. Sodiq Yusuff, unanimous decision. Nursulton Ruziboev, knockout in round 1, round 2. Melquizael Costa, 29-28 decision. Matheus Camilo, unanimous decision. Jared Gordon, unanimous decision. Yadier DelValle, unanimous decision. Luana Santos, decision. Denise Gomes, decision. Hyun Sung Park, decision. And Tisha Pennington by TKO. If there are any finishes, Hyun Sung Park definitely has a good possibility. Denise Gomes has a good shot to get a knockout there. Luana and Tainara both have good submissions. There's a possibility there as well. And if Yadier's power picked up, he's got a good shot to knock out Connor. I definitely don't expect to finish with Jared Gordon and Thiago Moises. And again, there's a good possibility with Matheus because Gabe is coming down to the lightweight division. So I am predicting a lot of decisions. The only finishes I have are Rodolfo Bellato, Nursulton Ruziboev, and Tisha Pennington. That's only 3 fights. If you look at it a little bit more deeply, there's a lot more possibilities for finish. Matheus Camilo, Yadier DelValle, Luana Santos, Denise Gomes, Hyun Sung Park all have great potentials for a finish. I just lean towards a decision. But thank you guys for watching. Those are my full card predictions. Yeah! See you in the next one.